So as soon as it can.
Coming at you from the Steel City, you're listening to Poor Man's Podcast, Pittsburgh's premier comedy podcast. Your weekly dose of humor, hosted by Chris Hopper and with a new special guest each week. And here's your host, Chris Hopper.
Woo! Woo! Oh boy.
Hello.
Well, as it were, Abby. Welcome to Poor Man's Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Along with me, as always, is the wonderful, is the talented, is the beautiful, is Abby Evans. Abby, how are you this week?
I am wonderful, Chris. Chris, yeah. We're doing. Can you hear me?
Oh, no, I got the second round of applause going for you.
There we go. You can hear me, right?
We can now. Yes, you're good.
Okay, great. Hi, I am wonderful, Chris. And yes, I have. What's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Flow well enough to.
Yes, and all of you watching at home, you're right. I got a new name. I work with teenagers, and I was sick of them finding me on social media. So don't look up Abby Elias. She is dead. Abigail Elias is still around, but yeah, Abby Evans, but you can still find, it's a buy on everything. So, and at the end of the day, isn't that who we all are?
I'll tell you what, you couldn't have planned a better name going forward with it, being that there's another Abby Elias in comedy in Pittsburgh. So it works out for you for sure.
For all of us, yep.
That's I remember my brother found out that his one teacher was in a band. He was the drummer for one of the bands, and like it was just like I need to find everything out about Todd.
I had one of like my teachers in high school played for the Clarks.
Oh shit.
A while ago, yeah. And like when we found that out, this was like for like in like pre-social media though when he played for them. So we tried to find like any dirt we can on him, and we absolutely could not. But yeah.
That's good and bad, because you would think like if you can find something, you're probably good enough.
Yeah. And the fact that kids are finding stuff is great for comedy, but bad for like me eating.
Sure. I absolutely understand that. I work in a restaurant, and I have some people that know that I do stand up occasionally, or do comedy things, and then it's always like, tell me something funny, and it's
everybody's like, no, you don't get that. You don't get that.
I mean, I can't really right now. The whole situation's off, and I have little things to do, and I know for sure you won't appreciate what I'm going to say.
That's like another reason like why I went with the stage name, because like Abby Elias, she's like, it's like my Clark Kent. Like she's boring. She likes to bake cookies and donate them. But like Abby Evans, she's the funny one.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Have you? This is a side note, but this is for the listeners at home. I like to have some tidbits for life. Something to for every day. And those Bob Evans mac and cheese or mashed potatoes you see at the store, man. Go ahead and get those. They're worth it. They're as good as homemade anything, man.
Bob Evans is pretty fucking tasty. Like Bob Evans is what Eaton Park wishes they were. Sorry, not sorry, Eaton Park.
Oh shit. Has Eaton Park lost its way in the last few years?
A little bit.
First century, for sure. I agree with you, Abby, and with me. I think they have. I think they've gotten compliant or complacent, man.
They're part of the system.
They are, man. Those, I feel like the smiley face cookies used to be something, and now
who are they?
Man, they're just nameless gray faces.
You know what I think it was? I think it was when Kings went under, because they have no competition now.
Yeah, that could be what it is. They have the monopoly on.
And now they have nothing to motivate them to get better.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. The one thing Kings had going for it, though, I will say, is they had the good ice, which is like the small bead ice.
Oh, yeah.
That's enough to make me want to go back to a place. Like they're like, they have the ice. You go there and you have that experience, man. That ice is prime.
Arby's has the meat. King's has the ice.
Absolutely, Abby. I'm always so happy to speak with you. It's been choppy the
We
last
have
couple.
like we talk about the real things in life, Chris.
Oh yeah, I know. The last episode, go back listen. I finally put it up on Spotify and all that other stuff. It was up on you can see it on YouTube and Facebook and all that good stuff. But it is now available on all the platforms to download. So go back and listen to that one. We tackled the tough issues, good versus well. Abby, so I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a lot. There's a lot there.
There's a lot.
We dig in deeper.
Mm-hmm,
We don't have a
mm-hmm.
guest, so it gives us an opportunity to dig in a little bit deeper with that. So definitely go back and listen to that. Abby, what's going on in Abby's world? I feel like I saw you at a pretty cool show this last weekend.
Yeah, I was I was a part of Fridge Art Sketch Show. They are arcade comedy. In addition to stand up, I also do sketch on occasion. They are, oh, my cat wants to say hi. Say hi,
Oh
Beals.
shit! Oh, get him on, man!
He's the king of
Absolutely. Let's
Saturday
not
himself.
bury the lead.
If you guys follow me on social media, this is the cat that I post every single Saturday. This is Beelzebub. He is my reason for living.
Those
Say hi,
eyes, though,
Beals.
man.
I
They're
know.
piercing,
Yeah.
beautiful,
Okay, now
and
he's
in
shy.
all cat fashion, could not give less of a shit.
Nope, not at all. He's gonna shit on the bed in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, just to spite you.
Yeah. What was I talking about before?
What's going on now?
Yeah. Fridge Art Sketch Show happened this past Saturday. We are arcade comedy theater's first in-house sketch troupe. We do sketch shows every 3 or 4 months. Sometimes they have a theme, sometimes not. And what's cool about Fridge Art is that we take sketch submissions from literally anybody. So if you are listening here and you think you have an idea for a sketch, you can literally just write it and submit it to us, and we may put it on. Who knows? But our next show is December 6th, and that is our post-election satire show.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
It's always good for that.
And also, this Wednesday, the 23rd, you can catch me at Mixtape in Garfield for Night of the Laughing Dead.
My brother just brought up. I saw my brother yesterday. It's my sister's birthday tomorrow. Shout out to Haley. Happy birthday.
Oh, Haley.
Absolutely. But my brother saw something, and he saw something of yours, and he was like, I was just in Mixtape the other day. Is that girl that does the podcast? Was she in Mixtape? And I was like, I'll have to check it out. I know she does a ton of shows because Abby,
Yeah.
I feel like you work as much as anybody. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I see
busting my balls here, Chris. Just busted my balls.
You are. I love it. That's why I love to be associated with people who get things done, Abby. I love that about you. But no, he saw that and he said it's an awesome venue. So I definitely want to see what that's about. Have you been there before?
I have, yeah. They're a really cool venue. They've not done much in the way of comedy, so love to get the ball rolling on that. But for the month of October, they are doing like a Nightmare Before Mixtape pop-up theme where the entire bar is Tim Burton themed, and it's pretty fucking cool. So if you're a Tim Burton fan, definitely try to get there before the end of spooky season because it's a blast.
Are you a Tim Burton fan?
I am. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like his. Yeah, I'm a big Tim Burton girly. I think my favorite might be Sweeney Todd.
Oh, really?
But I'm also a musical girly. Yeah. I do like Sweeney Todd. I think I just am biased because I love that musical.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you a Tim Burton guy?
I think so.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's let's see, what do I like? Edward Scissorhands, Tim Burton, right?
Edward Scissorhands is great.
Nightmare Before Christmas, right?
Classic, yeah.
It's him and the dude from The Simpsons.
Dude from The Simpsons? What?
I think he did the soundtrack from The Simpsons. The opening.
Wait, really? Oh, I think you're right.
Oh my God, what's his name?
It's not Danny. Is it Danny Elfman?
Danny Elfman. Yeah. Danny Elfman. Yeah. So Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my all-time favorites. Great soundtrack. But yeah, no, I like him. He did the Michael Keaton Batmans and all that.
Yeah.
He's one of
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which gets Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Sorry,
one of
he
the
also directed Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
yeah. Well, that's one of the downfalls, just so everybody listening now, that when Abby and I are doing this virtual thing, it seems like when one of us is talking, it just like interrupts and just mutes the other person. So if
Yeah.
you hear that, that's part of that. But yeah, no, Tim Burton, I feel like is cool. One of the cool things I saw with AI, which I think we talked about this last week, not the biggest fan on AI. It's gonna be bad. It's just gonna end up being bad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But during this, the pre phase, this is back when we're stupid to before the whole takeover. I'm sure the robotic takeover, but it's cool to see the Tim Burton AI art for like Pokemon, or they'll have like his Stranger Things Tim Burton style, and they'll do whatever like the Tim Burton almost filter on things
Yeah.
is really cool to see, which basically means you look like you put on a lot of white makeup and are on Ozempic, or kind of, you're Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, or you're on Ozempic, and that's basically Tim Burton.
What if Ozempic was just invented by a goth girl that wanted to look like she was in a Tim Burton movie?
It could be. I mean, I don't know for sure. I just
We
go
don't
based on
know.
what everybody else tells me. I mean, I have no idea. I haven't done the deep dive into Ozempic, but maybe it is. Maybe it's somebody that uh doesn't have three names. Not Helena Bonham Carter. She's not a presidential uh assassin, and she's not
No.
a woman in Tim Burton films,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That's what I say, Abby. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Do you have any shows coming up? Because I have a couple things. I have some Halloween stuff this year. I was looking at Halloween stuff going into this, and I
I've
have
got
no.
oh
Go
yeah, I
ahead.
was gonna say, yeah, so I have the show on Mixtape on October 23rd. Teresa Roberts Logan will be headlining. I'm co-hosting with Lizzie Martin, and the other Abigail Elias will be on it. So if you want to see us in the same place at the same time, this is your chance. And then Saturday, I'm doing a double hitter. I will be on the Comedy is Dead show at Antonio's Pizzeria in Brookline. And then I am crossing a bridge to do a set at Ernie B's Barbershop in Sharpsburg. Blake Scala will be headlining, and Jared Helfer will be doing a feature set. My two favorite weird little dudes in the Pittsburgh comedy scene.
Those are two guys that I have to say, like, I don't know Blake very well, but every time I've seen him, I've laughed extremely hard. I think he's
Yeah.
very, very funny. I don't know him personally, but he is very funny every time I see him. And Jared, I think Jared is secretly brilliant. I think he is hilarious. I think he's so funny, and I love his comedy. So both of those guys, especially you, Abby. I mean, say no more than Abby, but with Blake and with Jared and whoever else is out there, that sounds like a hell of a time, man.
Yeah, it will be hosted by Dave Stewart, and other features will include Eric Williams and then another friend of the pod, Cass Goodworth. Like it's
Oh
like it
my
is stacked. The show is stacked.
Dave Stewart and Eric Williams, Kaz Goodworth. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I can't say enough for all these people. I love all of them. Um,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you have to stop out and see that. Anybody listening, and I can't say this enough. Anybody listening for the first time or for the millionth time, go out and see live comedy, because it's never disappointed by it. It's always, you go out, you have a good time. It's never. I mean, I don't want to say never worse than what you think, but I bet you more often than not, people think it, like, end up having a better time than what they expect.
Yeah. See live comedy, and I don't want to say like obviously go to like the Improv, go to like fucking like the one place, and like whatever. Like I mean, those places are great, but
Yeah.
try to find more indie comedy. Follow Pittsburgh comedy scene on Instagram. They are always promoting local indie shows. And if you like someone you saw on the show, give them a follow.
Yeah.
Give them a support. Like I agree, like live comedy, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. You're not going to get the same show twice.
Yeah. Even if you see the exact same lineup twice, you're not seeing the same show twice.
Exactly. Exactly.
So definitely stop out, see that, follow at It's a Buy.
It's a bye.
Absolutely check that out. Find Abby wherever she is. She always does such a good job. And she was on the Poor Man's podcast comedy showcase we did.
Mhm.
The second one, Abby absolutely killed it. She was hilarious. I don't want to
That's
say she
such a
was my
blast.
favorite, but she may have made me laugh the most. So definitely check her out at any point. We have another one of those coming up. You were just talking about Eric Williams. We have Eric Williams on that, I believe.
Mhm.
Chrissy Costa, Brittany Alexis, Don Arner, Mike Vesio, myself, Thomas Farley, and I think I hope I'm not forgetting anybody right now. But follow us for that. We'll have that going forward. And if you're in Beaver County outside of Pittsburgh, you don't want to drive into Pittsburgh and you want to see the same
Mhm.
funny people, the same excellent show. I love putting on a show. I love being a host more than anything, not even the comedian
Yeah.
part. I want to host. I want you guys to have a good time. So come in, have a good time, have some good drinks from Bullseye, see some very, very, very funny people. I wouldn't have them on if I didn't think they were funny. So come and check that out. That'll be November 22nd. So we still have some time. But Abby, this thing I brought up, I want to talk a little bit about Halloween because we have that coming
Mhm.
up time of the year. And these are some of the trending Halloween costumes for
Ooh.
this year. So they're not like for all time, they're just for the ones coming up. If you had to guess some of the trending ones, what would you think are at least from what I'm looking at on time? So it's at least somewhat relative. These are the most popular Halloween costumes for
Mm.
2024. What are we thinking for you?
Is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on there?
You would think so, at least on
Huh.
according to time, I don't see either of them. So maybe it's one of those situations where never mind that.
Maybe they just weren't as big as they thought they were. I don't
Yeah.
know. Hmm. Hmm. JD Vance and the Couch.
That sounds like an awesome indie band and a good they're opening for the Shins this weekend. Yeah. So
I
according to
don't know. I can't guess it.
that, what, those are good. And this is just one site, so who knows how accurate it is. But according to Time, number one is Shrunken Head Bob, which is the fan
Uh,
favorite from the Beetlejuice movie. I'm assuming it's similar to the one from the first one. I haven't seen the second Beetlejuice. Have you seen the
I
newer
would
Beetlejuice
assume I
movie?
haven't seen the second
I
one.
would
I've
like
not
to.
seen it yet.
Yeah.
Same.
I've heard good things, and I love the
Mhm.
first one. So we'll see. Number
Yeah.
two, I'm familiar with. We have Ray Gun, the Australian break
Oh,
dancer.
of course, yeah.
A real name Rachel Gunn, who viral performance in the Olympics in the green tracksuit. Did have you seen her do her break dancing?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
Olympic
it's pretty
athlete.
fucking yeah. It's pretty fucking yeah.
You know what? As much as anybody wants to say anything, if you were like, "Hey, go out there and do your best break dance," she'd beat me probably.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't understand breakdancing as an Olympic sport in general, um, because I don't understand the scoring system. I feel like it's kind of like, yeah,
That's how
and
I
I
feel
know.
about I don't know if it's an Olympic sport, but that's how I feel about bowling. Because like, I know
Okay,
that bowling leagues exist, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to, like, pick up on what makes a good bowler. But also, I was on the rowing team in high school, and I feel like people said the same thing too, like, "I just don't know," like, people that aren't familiar with the sport, like, wouldn't know, like, what makes a good rower.
the rowers are the nerds that have the giant biceps.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
my
how I was
biceps were
pointing out.
fucking huge.
Rowing,
My biceps
rowing.
were huge.
Abby, were you a
I
rower?
got
That's
made
crazy.
I was a rower, yeah, yeah.
Rowers are one of those athletes in school that you don't realize that like their schedule sucks because they have to be up at like 5:30 a.m. to go row on the
Yeah.
Monongahela.
I had a T-shirt. It was actually Ohio, but I had a T-shirt that was like, on like it said
That's
like the front said
passable where I'm from. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not from those parts,
No,
Chris, but
you're from
I had
the south part
from the
of
fucking
Pittsburgh,
South
right?
Hills, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
No,
screaming
but I had
Ohio
a shirt
River.
I had a shirt in high school, like, the front said, I can't, I have crew, then the back was, um, like, a calendar that was, like, Monday rowing, Tuesday rowing, Wednesday rowing, and that's what it was, and people thought, like, "Oh, when it's winter, you can't go on the river because it's cold out. No, they have rowing machines. Some
Yeah.
motherfucker saw rowing and was like, what if we did this inside?
My dad would do that when I was growing up. He's like, I'm going on the rowing machine. So that's kind of how I know
No.
a little bit about that, like a psycho. But yeah, dude, rowing is insane.
I will say, like, anytime I go to the gym and I see, like, the rower, I get PTSD. But what irks me more is, like, when I see someone using the rowing machine and I see them using it incorrectly. Like, homie, you
Oh,
will blow your back out.
so the rowing machine, for people who haven't seen it, roughly is like kind of like a seat on like is it like a
Yeah.
thing that slides, and then there's
Yeah, it's
two,
like a sliding seat, yeah.
yeah, and then like in the middle, and then on each side there's these like metal bars that come in with the
Yeah.
handles, and then it replicates rowing. So what is it? You
Yeah.
just pull back against the resistance, I guess,
So,
of the
like, it's like yeah, I don't know, but it's like you're supposed to push with your legs first, then your body, then your arms. So, like, you're not putting all of it on your back. But, like,
yeah.
sometimes I'll see people and they'll just go, like, all back. And I'm like, homeboy, RIP your back.
Is that something,
You want
Abby?
these
Is that something where, say you have four people who are just ripped and they're and
Mhm.
they're they're rowing versus four people who aren't as muscular, but they have the right rhythm? Is that one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those things where it's like, if you are just timed and synced with the people you're with, you are better than just pure just strength?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like, I watched like, I remember in high school, there's a video that, like, everyone on my team sent around of, like, it was the Good Morning America fucking anchor team. It was the 4 of them on a boat versus Harvard's rowing team, and
Yeah.
Harvard beat them by, like, a lot,
Yeah, by like
and Harvard's
minutes.
rowing team were blindfolded and had one hand pulled back, and they were
Yeah.
still able to beat them because it's all fucking technique.
Yeah. I could totally see that. I've been in a kayak with one other person, and it gets very frustrating, and quite quickly I'm not physically violent, but a lot of things that shouldn't be said, probably,
Yeah, yeah.
in close quarters, for sure. But yeah, no, that's crazy. With that, I remember all the rowers in my high school would get up early and have to row or wherever on whatever river. Um and it was one of those things. It's not one of those like sexy sports. It's not
No.
basketball or football or something. But like, I feel like you get your ass kicked more in that.
Yeah, and it's like I remember we had beef with the swim team, and I don't know why
Oh
because we
shit!
had the same schedule. We had the same fucking schedule.
Aquatic warfare.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
we were
whether or not you
like,
need a boat.
these motherfuckers think because they were actually in the water that they were better than us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They think because it was skin versus water versus boat versus
Yeah,
water.
yeah, no,
How many-
like, sorry, man.
And I know this is great for the comedy podcast, but how many people were in your boat? Is it a 4 person?
We had 4-person boats and we also had 8-person boats. So yeah, 4 and 8. And there's also the person in the front of the boat that was steering. Do you want to guess what they were called?
The uh let's see. The pilot,
I'll give you one more guess what they were called.
the let's see. The I don't know.
They were called the coxswain. Cox
I
for
would have
short.
never I would have never guessed the coxswain.
Yeah, and we had a little box
You have to
that
ask,
had, like,
ask if the
like a
coxswain.
basically like
It's
a
not good.
microphone system.
Yeah.
That had, like, a microphone system, so, like, the person in the back of the boat could hear them. Do you wanna know what that little box was called?
The Cox box.
Cox box. It was the
Fuck
fucking Cox
yes.
box.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
like, my
Yeah.
first 3 years of high school, I was a rower, but my senior year, I was the only senior girl, and, like, it was I don't know, it was weird. It was, like, 1 senior girl, 3 junior girls, and then, like, 10 freshmen and sophomore girls, and they were like, "Well, we can't put the newbies with, like, the vars." So I was a coxswain. I was a cox my whole senior year.
Wow. Now, does the
Yeah.
does the Cox also row? Or are they just there for
No, no.
moral support.
They just sit in the boat and they steer and they yell. They're like the fucking like they're basically like the what was that one lady from Dance Moms? Abby Lee Miller. Like she was never actually a dancer, but she lived off of making like young dancers feel terrible about themselves. That's what you did. You didn't actually row, you just made the boat feel terrible about themselves.
That's awesome, man. So,
Yeah.
do they reward like the best rower with that position, or is it just like,
No,
hey,
it's
you don't want to lose a strong rower, right?
no, it's I mean, like, also the cox has to be small
Oh,
because it
okay.
needs to fit. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
gotcha.
size doesn't always matter.
Can the cocks be girthy? Um, let's see.
No, you don't want a girthy cox that just gets stuck.
No, could just get stuck, man. Well, I guess we'll find out.
You just need someone that can slide in and slide out.
Well, now we know that's the most rowing talk we've ever done, or probably the most we'll ever do. That was
The
all
most we'll ever
because
do. That's
Ray Gun being the number 2 Halloween costume this year.
yeah, that we went on like a that went. I'm sorry, guys. We went.
No, we
Yeah.
you know what? That's why you listen to Poor Man's Podcast. We break that wall down and we find out more than what's on the surface. At least according to Time, it seems like a lot of these are from Beetlejuice. These costumes. We have Envy from the new Pixar Inside Out 2.
Yes.
So it appears to be Descendants, Deadpool, Lady Deadpool, which I don't know. I guess.
I
It's
still
just
haven't seen Deadpool and versus Wolverine.
I saw the first Deadpool and then I saw part of the second Deadpool and I was like, all right, I feel like I know what Deadpool is. But yeah, so I don't know. Abby, do you plan on dressing up for Halloween this year? Do you dress up for Halloween? Or you wait?
I don't know. I don't have any like parties I'm going to.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Um, Eric, my boyfriend, and we discussed a potential couple's costume. Are you familiar with a TikToker named Joe Long?
Is that the Pittsburgh person?
Yep, the Deb and Dawn. We were planning on
Okay.
being Deb
So
and Dawn. I don't.
I've had my fiance showed me this yesterday, and I think it was you probably a couple weeks ago because somebody told me
Mhm.
about this and I wasn't familiar. And then she showed me literally yesterday, and I saw what it was. So yes,
Yeah, Deb and Dawn, like the ultimate Pittsburgh couple.
that's pretty good. Um,
Are you planning on dressing up?
no, the last time I dressed up, my kids went as 2 Avengers, I believe. I think it was like Iron
Mm,
Spider-Man and Iron Man or something. So they had a Hulk costume from the year before. So I wore a green hoodie and wore the Hulk mask. Was the last time. And then
nice.
the year after, actually, Danny bought me a crow mask. So I wore a black hoodie and a crow mask.
Huh.
So I was the crow daddy the year after. Before we move on from the Halloween stuff, though, Abby, I was looking this up. At least according to Google AI's overview, I looked up the most popular Halloween candy of all time.
Hmm.
According to this, well, you know what? Let me. I'll let you guess first. Let's not rush through it for the listener and for you. If you had to guess what the most popular Halloween candy of all time is, at least in sales, what do you think?
Is it the pumpkin Reese cups?
I'll give you partial credit for sure. At least according to this, the number one is Reese's Halloween candy is what it says. So I don't know if it's specifically that shape, but it says sales Reese's top selling Halloween candy with $509.85 million in sales. I don't know what that's.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. Popularity, it says 29% of Americans say Reese's is their favorite Halloween candy. Abby, are you a candy person? What's your go-to candy?
I'm not a candy person, but I'm a really big chocolate person, and I'm a big Reese's fan.
Yeah. Have you had these Lindt truffles?
I have. It's been a minute, but yeah.
The kids are talking about these
Yeah.
days. Oh yeah, no. The only reason
What's the Oh, keep going.
I was just saying the kids have been talking about them these days. So
I've not like recently, but I've had like Lindt truffles. I don't think of them as like a Halloween candy, but they're like a
no,
Christmas
they're
candy.
definitely not. But I've had them recently because I've just had them and they're on my mind. Because I had the Halloween version that had like the regular milk chocolate truffle and just like the
Nice.
pumpkin wrapper. Solid candies, man. Solid candies. According to this, second most
What's the
popular candy is M&M. $500 million in sales. Snickers third at 456 million. Kit Kat fourth and 306 million. Kit Kats suck, and that's kind of my
they
opinion.
suck.
Yeah, dude, I don't like a wafer
It's just
candy.
chocolate covered cardboard.
Absolutely,
Chocolate
Abby.
covered cardboard.
Oh
It's
my god,
nasty.
no.
It is nasty.
They're gross. They're so
They are
dumb.
disgusting. There's nothing
Oh,
like I would rather just have like a plain Hershey bar than fucking chocolate covered cardboard.
absolutely. It's nothing. It gives you some kind of texture that you don't even need. If
No.
your chocolate's good enough, your chocolate stands on its own. Beyond
Mhm.
that, it has to have some nut or some flavor to it, but
Mm-mm.
definitely not the cardboardness, not the wafer cookie that nobody gave a shit about, that nobody ate
No.
before this. Nobody cares about a Kit Kat, and the fact that it's fourth, it's just because you put it in a wrapper with a bat on it. You put it in a wrapper with
Commercialism.
a pumpkin in it. Yeah. It is what it is. It's a Mars candy, I'm pretty sure. You throw in a mixed bag with M&Ms and whatever else.
Whatever, people.
Sales
Yeah.
boost,
It
man.
does not deserve to be with fucking Reese's cups and M&Ms.
No, not at all. According to this, it says Sour Patch Kids are top 10 Halloween candies. Skittles, Starburst are also top 10. Doesn't say where.
I
I
will say though, the fact that the top 4 places are all chocolate
yeah.
just proves my point that chocolate is superior.
I think the thing with that is that chocolate is enjoyed by people who understand it and enjoy things more, which are adults. If kids
Mhm.
had if kids had money, Sour Patch Kids boost up all those other things. I'm a
Mm.
child. I like gummies, but I also like chocolate. I also realize chocolate is an adult's candy. So yeah, makes sense. Snickers
Yeah.
good. M&M's being second. M&M's is not an adult candy, in my opinion, man.
No.
Reese's
No.
cup. Reese's can be enjoyed by an adult, and M&M is a child thing. Snickers an adult. That's what I think.
Are you I don't know, like, are you an M&M's person?
I'll eat M&Ms.
Okay. I like peanut M&Ms, but, like, regular M&Ms.
I like a peanut M&M, peanut butter M&M, solid
Oh.
caramel M&M.
I feel like I'd rather just have, like, a Reese's Pieces, though,
Yeah,
because that's what, like, the peanut butter M&Ms are.
the best part of Reese's, and maybe this is heresy to say, okay, is a cereal, man. Reese's
Oh, yeah.
best
Yeah.
form of Reese's, man. Solid.
Reese's yeah, Reese's was, like, they were just, like, chocolate and peanut butter, patent on that,
Mhm.
and we will make all the money.
Actually, Abby, before we move on, I'll tell you what the best candy is, and it is in the Reese's
Okay.
family. Have you ever had a Take
Mhm.
Five?
Yes, I have.
A Take Five is wonderful. A Take Five is what?
That's fucking
Chocolate,
good.
caramel, pretzel.
Mm,
What else is in there? There's some peanut and maybe nougat or something like that. There's 5 things.
something
So good. So
else.
that's what an adult would enjoy. If you're an adult and you're listening,
Yes.
go get yourself a Take Five.
You know what? I've decided we've talked so much about the candy we like. I wanna go back to candy we hate because I wanna be a hater. Three
Spear.
Musketeers, nasty. Nasty.
1,000%, Abby. Oh God, I agree
They're
with you.
not as bad as Kit Kats, but they're fucking nasty.
They are. They are. They're like, hey, you know everything you love about a Milky Way. We're gonna take the caramel out, and we're
Mhm.
just gonna give you this fucking. I don't know.
It's
the
not marshmallow,
version of
it's not
not good. But
No.
yeah, it's like a half-ass candy. Like
No, like
nougat
they
is
put
not good
no.
enough to stand on its own as a secondary ingredient. It's a
It is
tertiary.
like candy. It is a Three Musketeers bar is candy that was made by aliens who are trying to mimic, who are totally trying to act like they're not aliens.
Yeah.
Like this is a totally normal human candy.
We love nougat. We love nougat, and we love D'Artagnan, the musketeer. I don't know. Super obscure. A lot of Three Musketeers fans enjoyed that
Mhm.
one. Um, Abby, I agree with you. That Three Musketeers sucks. It's like a Milky Way with, but worse. It's a worse Milky Way. Like
Yeah.
there's no room for it.
Mhm.
You have the Snickers, you have the Milky Way,
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
and then if you want to have even less, you have the beginner version, which is the Three Musketeer, which nobody
Three
enjoys.
Musketeers is the cantaloupe of candy. No one wants
Oh,
it there, but it is always there. No, yeah.
are you a honeydew over cantaloupe person?
Sorry, I take that back. I take it back. Three Musketeers is the honeydew. I like cantaloupe. I like cantaloupe. I'm sorry. I forgot that honeydew was the green one.
I mean,
I like cantaloupe.
I love that question
I can
actually
admit when I'm wrong.
because I've been saying for years and years that the honeydew is a parsnip to
Yeah.
the carrots
Yeah.
cantaloupe, man.
I do like cantaloupe.
Yeah,
Cantaloupe knows what it's doing, but honeydew, get the fuck out.
honeydew's there for color. They just want to have some green shit, and nobody enjoys it.
Yeah.
They're just there for the watermelon and the
Again,
strawberry,
it's a fruit made by aliens trying to be humans.
for sure, for sure. uh,
Yeah.
I had some shit, but we've actually talked for a little bit longer than I expected. Abby, do you want to
Mm.
talk about some news stuff then, or do you want to?
Um,
I
what
do
did you
have
want to talk about,
I
Chris?
do have, well, let's see. I have something personal. Let's go with the one that everybody can relate to. I was looking at this thing and it was the ranking the best TV shows of all time, Abby.
Okay.
Are you a big TV show person, or do you watch streaming shows?
Um, yeah, I guess. I guess I'm a TV show person.
So according to this, it was I think it's Puberty. It's what it's called. It's like an English one, but it's they take the rankings of the best TV shows of all time based
Oh
on
yeah.
the overall rankings of IMDb, Rotten Tomato. It's the critic score and the viewer score, and then there's like I don't know 8 or 6 other secondary movie rating things or TV show rating things.
Mhm.
For the top TV shows of all time, what are you thinking is near the top?
Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, The Simpsons, I Love Lucy, and Cheers, and The
Okay.
Office. Those are the 6 that I think are going to be there.
Okay. Those are all very, very legitimate answers. So, number
Mhm.
one, according to this, is Breaking Bad. Have you seen Breaking Bad, Abby?
I have. I have. It is Breaking Bad is like one of the very few perfectly rated shows. It is neither overrated nor underrated. It deserves all of the claim it gets, but also, yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Breaking Bad fan.
Breaking Bad is ranked number one. In my opinion, Breaking Bad should probably be ranked like number one because it is the greatest fucking show of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
It's
Like
perfect.
I
It's
cannot be a
brilliantly
hater.
written. It's brilliantly
Brilliantly
acted
paced.
in. The entire thing is great. Game of Thrones, love Game of Thrones. If you watched Game of Thrones, last season of Game of Thrones, completely rushed through. The last season of Game of Thrones,
Mhm.
I've been 2 seasons, if not 3 seasons.
Agreed.
You could have stretched it out if you wanted
Mhm.
to. It feels like you were just like, you know what? We found out that we want to just wrap this up right now. Let's get all these stories that we have different stories that we're not even going to finish on half of them. We'll just get them and we'll get them done because Game of Thrones is a fucking cash cow. Because we said Game of Thrones, they could have kept going and it would have been good. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they do. Why? From what my fiance says, I guess some of the producers were doing Star Wars shit, which would
Mhm.
make sense. But
Have you
what else?
watched House of the Dragon?
I watched the whole first season. I watched the first
Okay.
like 2 episodes of the second season and haven't followed through.
I'm still so mad at how Game of Thrones ended to watch House of the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
And, like, that's another thing, and, like, I don't mean to, like, keep stroking Breaking Bad's balls, but, like, that's another thing that made it so great is that they just stuck like, they just nailed the ending so well.
Yeah.
Like, it ended at the perfect time, it wasn't too short, it wasn't rushed, they didn't try to drag things out, like, it was just yeah.
That's the thing with it. Like you can't jump the shark with it and go too long. You can't
Mhm.
end it too early by half-assing it. Like Breaking Bad was paced perfectly. They cast the roles perfectly. Bryan Cranston is amazing
Yeah.
in every single episode. The entire cast is great, and the writing is incredible. But he's such a good fucking actor in general. Breaking Bad is just top to bottom. I agree. It's the best show because I've seen. I'm just going to list the top 10. You have
Okay.
number 1, Breaking Bad. Number 2, Game of Thrones. Number 3, Chernobyl. Chernobyl was great, but there's something about being one season versus being in a like
Yeah. I've
a
never seen Chernobyl. Does it have an ending? Because 'Cause I've never seen it.
it's no, it's good, but it's like it's one
Mm.
season. It is what it is. It's the story it's telling, which
Yeah, okay.
is it's very much in the same category as number 5, which is Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers
No, I've never seen.
Band of Brothers was came out in the early 2000s on HBO. It was good. Um, I'm trying to think of some people who might have been in it. The dude from Homeland was in it. There's a bunch of like people you recognize that are in it, but Band of Brothers is good. Number 4, Sopranos. Did you watch The Sopranos?
I've not gotten around to Sopranos. I'm keep Sopranos and Sons of Anarchy are the 2 shows that, like, I swear on my life I'm going to watch, but I just have, like, a sinking feeling I will go to my grave and never watching either of them.
Watch The
I
Sopranos
want to, though.
before Sons of
Okay.
Anarchy. Sopranos is very good still. I think if you watched it now, it's still good. I think with a lot of shows, there's certain ones like number 6 is The Wire. I liked The Wire when I saw it, but it's also one of those things where people that want to sound like they know things say shit about The Wire. Like I think it was before its time in a lot of things where things have probably copied it and have morphed off of it.
Mhm.
But if you go back and watch it, it's nothing. I mean, it's cool. It's a crime show. They do a good job of doing it. Is it the 6th best show of all time? It's overrated, in my opinion. They have Better Call Saul on here. Stranger Things is 8. I love Stranger Things. I think that's great.
I am so nervous for the last season, though, because they could so Game of Thrones this shit. Like, it could either be Breaking Bad or it could be Game of Thrones. Like, that is how good Stranger Things is, that this last season could make or break it. And I don't wanna put pressure on the writers, but, like,
I agree.
you made your bed, now lie in it.
Abby, have you seen Yellow Jackets?
Yes, yes,
I feel
I
like
have.
that's a show that I really like so far, but I don't think has any I don't think it can live up to the hype that it's built up because it's built up this whole
I
thing. And
agree.
if you haven't seen it, it's about these girls. They're like a soccer team, a high school soccer team that crashes somewhere and they end up being rescued later on. But they go back and kind of reassess like kind of what they've done, the atrocities they had to go through to survive on their crashed plane trip. And I feel
Mhm.
like they're building it up to something that just can't be, you can't pay it off.
Yeah, I don't think the writers know where they're going, but they hope they're going somewhere. Have you watched Paper Girls?
I haven't.
It's pretty good. I think it only got, like, 1 or 2 seasons. I'm disappointed it didn't last longer, but there's also a part of me that, like, feels relieved because they really could have jumped the shark. But
Okay,
Paper
yeah.
Girls is a good one to check out.
I will check that out. What is it on? Do you know?
I wanna say it's on Prime.
Okay, yeah, definitely check it out. So we have those. Stranger Things was
Okay, so
8.
Stranger
Number
Things is
9,
8.
9 Sherlock. Number 10 is Peaky Blinders. Now you said The Office. The Office is
So
17. Oh, you know what? The
Okay.
Office, it says 94 though. Is that the English Office?
Oh shit.
'Cause I don't think the
I
Steve
like The Office.
later.
I like The Office. I don't think it I like The Office, but I feel like 94 is appropriate.
Well, it was the
Here's
year
how I
no,
feel.
94 was the year it came out. It's ranked 17. So
Oh,
I'm saying if it came out in 94, it might be the British version with, Ricky
okay.
Gervais.
I don't think I've
I
ever
don't
seen the
think
British
the
version.
American version came out until after 2000, I don't
Here's
think.
how I feel. I don't think I like Sherlock being at number 9.
Okay, have you seen Sherlock?
I have seen Sherlock. I was a full-blown Cumberbitch in 2013. If you asked me in 2013, I would have said it deserved to be number 1. Sherlock is great if you are 17 years old and you've never seen another show before.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
just they copy shtick.
Cumberbatch is great. Martin Freeman's great. It's a great idea, but, like, number 9?
Yeah, it's just too
No.
high. That's what
No.
somebody told me to watch Sherlock, and I saw it, and I was like, "There's 6 episodes or something."
Yeah, there's 6 episodes and they're 9 it's each episode is 90 minutes. It's a movie.
Yeah, right.
It's like I said, it's great if you're 17 and you've never seen another show
Yeah.
before.
There's a lot of shows on this that are like, are they really that high? Now, like you were saying with that, they have Fargo at 13.
Fargo's fucking good.
I haven't seen Fargo at all. House, Friends.
Fargo is really fucking good.
That's what I hear from a lot of people. It says 2014. Is that show still on? That show's over, right?
Yeah, anthology, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. That's a good movie too, but
I'll have to check that out. They have, let's see, Freaks and Geeks. Have you seen that? I've seen that. That one's decent.
yes. Yeah,
Session. Yeah.
unpopular opinion, I think Freaks and Geeks ended at the right time. I don't think it should have gotten another season.
Yeah. That's one of those that it's like they you want to go out with the people saying you want more. You don't want them saying they
Yeah.
want too long. So I think even a full season for them, they might have gone too long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
they
agree.
did. They hit their stride. Let's go out on top. We'll push our chips in. We're cool. Like or we're cashing out. It is what it is.
Mhm.
And like the cast of that was awesome. And a lot of the cast of that ended up doing huge things. That's Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
They ended up
Yeah,
almost all of
fucking
them.
no, they got Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, and James Franco. James Franco, Busy
Yeah.
Phillips, Linda Cardellini,
Yeah.
like, all
Um,
before they did that shit, all
Martin
their shit.
Starr. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Martin I
even
forget about yeah.
even the main kid, the weird kid
Yeah.
was in shit. He was in Waiting or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I
that's
feel
up
like
there.
the first season of Freaks and Geeks was a lot like the first season of Glee. And, like, I know Glee is not for everybody, but I feel like Glee, like, felt like the the writers felt like they were gonna get canceled after the first season, so they're like, "Okay, let's end on a bang." And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we made money, let's fucking go."
That's how I feel about The Bear. Have you seen The Bear?
Yeah, you
I
okay,
feel like
okay.
The Bear was super good the first season, and they were like, "Oh shit, we did well. People expect more from us. So what are we gonna do?" And now they're on season like 4, and they're like,
Yeah, I didn't like
"This
the
is not
newest
right.
season.
This is not right dialogue anymore. It's just gonna be him
I did
pleading."
not like the newest this is my qualm with The Bear, yes, I did not like the newest season, but if there was a place in Pittsburgh that you could get a sandwich for, like, real cheap and it was fucking
Yeah,
good, and
yeah,
they closed down
yeah,
to make this, like, fucking industrialized bougie shit, I y'all would see me on the news. I'd
yeah.
be so
I
pissed.
I agree with you 1000%. That
Mhm.
I'd like to see it, but I don't know. I don't.
I don't
I
know.
think that's kind of gone past the goodbye date, if you would, for food. You know, I think it's rotten.
Yeah.
I think they did well. They went a little bit further. Jamie Lee Curtis signed on. She did great, and they should have
Mhm.
kind of signed off after all of that.
Did
and
you watch
ended on
Hacks?
a high note, like
Yeah.
Freaking Geeks, but now they're gonna drag
No.
it on.
Have you watched Hacks?
No, what is that?
Oh, okay. It is about so it is about I forget her name. Okay, so it's about a young comedy writer who gets canceled over a tweet. So she is assigned to write for an aging stand-up comedian who is doing a residency in Las Vegas, and they end up becoming like the best frenemies ever. It is a fantastic show. It is like comments on toxic workplace in its and here's like my stance from a comic. I think Hacks and Mrs. Maisel are the two big stand-up comedy shows. I actually prefer Hacks over Maisel because it shows the comedians actually writing. Whereas
So
Maisel, it just has her. I'm gonna go up on stage and talk about shit.
what is Hacks on the
HBO
streaming?
Max. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to
But
check that out.
I want to I think they just premiered the 3rd season and I did like the 3rd season, but they ended they ended the 2nd season so well. They could have just stopped there and had us wanting more, but I'm just worried where it's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for some of the, let's see, I'm trying to see some of the bigger names that have been on here. For the bigger ones, let's see. We said Freaks and Geeks for 20. The end of the top 25: Mad Men, Narcos, Mindhunter, Mr. Robot, Black Mirror. It's 25. Let's see. What were you just saying? Have you seen Lost at all? Lost was one of my favorite
I
shows. That's
have, yeah. I
25.
love Lost was another, yeah.
Did you watch Twin Peaks at all? Twin Peaks is 44. Twin Peaks is one of
I've
those shows that is so overrated because of people that think it's just
Oh,
like,
really? Really?
oh, you're a big fan because
I've never seen it, but, like, I want to because I heard it's weird.
it is weird. And it's one of those things I've watched and I was like, am I missing it or is it just not that good?
Okay.
Because it's like it's what's his name that directs it and does all
David
those shit.
Lynch?
Yeah, David Lynch. So it's a
Mhm.
big deal with him. And like it's cool seeing some of it, but then it's like halfway through, I'm like, is this like, are they like joking about it? Is this
Mhm.
fake? And then I'm like, okay, I don't know. A lot of people like it. It's not for me. I'm not the
Okay,
campy
that's fair.
kind of whatever. And I think that's my big deal because like a lot of people will ask me like, what movies do you like? I don't like horror movies just because I feel like they're not filmed well and they're not written well. And I feel like this movie is like, let's try to be weird, or the TV show, let's try to be weird, and then we'll worry about dialogue and plot later.
Have you watched John Carpenter's The Thing?
No.
That's the movie when I hear people say I don't like horror movies to tell them to watch. And I'm also saying this because I just rewatched it last night, but
Yeah.
The Thing, if you're not a horror movie person, I highly, highly recommend it. It's not just a great horror movie, it's a great movie, period.
That's what I need to see because more often than not, horror movies suck. Like I like Silence of the Lambs, if you're gonna call them. I mean, like
Silence of the
more like
Lambs is great.
suspense, almost more like a psychological
Okay.
thriller kind of thing. But like when I get halfway through
I would argue The Thing is more.
and then find out, oh,
Have you seen
I don't know.
I'm a really big horror movie fan and I hate The Conjuring because that's what it is. And like that, like, it's movies like The Conjuring and The Purge that people think they hate horror, but they hate like the mainstream fucking yeah.
Yeah, I like a well-written movie, a well-acted movie, and I feel like horror in general. I feel like horror beyond anything is like if you want to film a movie and you don't have, I'm not saying you don't have skill or writing or
Mhm.
whatever, but I think it's of if you're going to write a comedy, if you're going to write a drama, if you're going to write an action, if you're going to write whatever, a horror is almost the easiest of them to write without Like
A bad horror. A bad horror. My goal, now that I know this about you, Chris, my goal is to find you a horror movie that you'll like.
please do, because I would love to find it. I like whatever kind of movie if it's written well.
Are you a horror comedy person? I mean, you just said, but I love horror, but okay, how am I gonna word this? Okay, I love horror, but there's nothing I hate more than bad horror, because bad horror turns people off from the genre.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing, because there's so much, like, horror can offer so much more than just cheap scares, and I don't think people realize that. Have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
I know what it is. I haven't seen it. I've
Okay.
heard
It's more people that say they don't like horror, I usually tell them to either watch The Thing or like a horror comedy,
Yeah.
because the comedies are typically more campy and self-aware.
Yeah. Like if
So
they're self-aware, I like that, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. I don't like a horror movie that starts out well and it has a good plot, and then it's just like, oh yeah, it's aliens, or it's
I
it's that
forget.
first movie.
Yeah, I forget who said it, but I saw a tweet somewhere that was like, good horror should feel like it's interrupting something else that's worth paying attention to,
Yeah.
and that just like fucking hit the nail over the head
Right. Like have a
for
good
me.
drama
Like,
or whatever it is,
yeah,
but then like have that extra level. I'm not saying I
yeah.
can do
You
it.
just described The Thing.
Okay, well, then I'll check it out. If I mean,
Yeah, it's
what is
on
it?
Peacock right now, I think.
Yeah.
It's only like 80 minutes, and the movie fucking moves.
Yeah.
Like, it starts and it does not stop.
It's like a Ramon song, man.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. But no, I'll check that out. I've heard that. And when did that come out? In the 80s or late
Like
70s?
82, 83.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kurt Russell's got a rockin' mullet in it. And that
Oh,
alone should be reason to check it out.
I saw the guy that did the pest control thing around my house looked like Kurt Russell. I needed to
Fuck
tell him
yeah.
about his beautiful head of hair, and I was like, you know what? Don't just let Orkin work. So I did that.
You know what? I don't think, like, name another Hollywood couple that collectively has more beautiful hair than Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
I don't know if I can.
No, it can't be done.
No. What's her name up to? The Cosby Girl and Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah.
They might be up there, but
They
maybe
might
not.
they might be up
Maybe
there.
not.
They might be up there.
Who knows?
Who
Kurt
knows? They
Russell.
both have great hair. They both have great hair.
Abby, do you have any news? I feel like we should touch on some news.
New news. In sadder news, Liam Payne from One Direction has passed away. If you are not in the weird zillennial generation like myself, and you have no idea what I just said or what this means to the people born between 1995 and 2000, the way I've been describing it is how we feel is similar to how the baby boomers felt when John Lennon died, except instead of John Lennon, it were Ringo. And I'm standing by what I said.
That's a way to make it like really deep, and then like, not that deep out. Like,
Chris, what was like the first big like celebrity death from your generation?
the one that hit me, or the one that I remember?
The one that hit you.
Okay, I do remember thinking to myself, I have been too fucked up to properly recognize Tom Petty's death. And I wasn't even a Tom Petty guy, but like I feel like it just went too fast, man. I don't know. I remember Michael Jackson when he died, because it was right at the same time as like Goldie Hawn or somebody.
Yeah.
It was somebody like almost in the same like day or 2 days, because I was at the drive at the dry cleaner that I worked at, and somebody came in, and like that was the first one that hit me. The one that hit me like personally, I don't know. There was one like recently. I feel like that was like, oh, that's sad, but I can't remember who it was. Maybe Mac Miller or somebody like that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I get sad because I like whenever I hear death or whatever, and not to like bring everything down. But like when I hear it, like I'm like, okay, how old was this person? Like that person went through school and they went through this and they did all this, and just the hours and just time that somebody spent on Earth and their family spent with
Mhm.
them, and like that kind of stuff hits me, and then just like, oh, it's sad because it's too early. Like it's sad whenever
Yeah.
stuff happens, and I think people in general don't value human life as much. It's
Mhm.
just like unless it's you, like what the fuck do you care? It's another thing. Just keep on
Yeah.
moving kind of thing. But I don't know. It's sad. But
It
for yeah,
is, yeah.
but for celebrities, I remember when like Michael Jackson happened just because it was big for a lot
Mhm.
of people around me. But I don't really remember like a person for like that I gave that much a shit of about that like died.
For me, this one is hitting me not because so I'm a One Direction fan, but I wouldn't say I'm a Directioner.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I think people who have no idea about One Direction, if they heard me talk about One Direction, they'd be like, "Oh, she's a Directioner." But actual Directioners would look at me and be like, "This fucking bitch is a poser."
Right.
But for me, I think, and again, it's that weird bridge between millennials and Gen Z that I fall into. One Direction was fucking inescapable. Like whether
Yeah.
you liked them or not, they were a part of like your childhood and upbringing. And now that a crucial figure from that has passed away at the age of 31, which one is super young, but is only 3 years older than me. It
Yeah.
just like it feels like childhood. It feels like it's a loss of innocence almost.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah.
it's whenever you have something like it's I feel like you always expect somebody older to die or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When somebody's like around your age or like him, he is 2 years younger than me. I'm not a giant
Mhm.
One Direction person,
Mhm.
and like it's just because I didn't listen to. I bet you I know 10 of their songs. I just don't realize I do, and I'm sure
They
they're
were fucking huge.
yeah. From what I hear, dude. I mean the pop songs, like everybody loves the fucking pop songs. So
Mhm.
I know a handful of their songs that they are good. The more that we say it, the one that kind of sticks in my craw kind of thing. Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters, the drummer that OD'd
Oh,
recently.
yeah.
That one kind of hits me a little bit just because it's sad because I think he was such a talented drummer and I think he was held to such a high standard being in the Foo Fighters with Dave Grohl, who's one of the best
Mhm.
drummers of all time. But like with Taylor Hawkins and his substance issues, and I think his son may be even touring with the band now, like that kind of stuff, that kind of hits me a little bit. So that one probably kind of makes me sad. Um,
You said Foo Fighters, and I just connected 2 dots. I think that for my like, we're I feel like for, like, this generation, Mac Miller was our Kurt Cobain, and Liam Payne is our John Lennon. Mac
okay.
Miller was the guy that died too young, like, in the height of his career. Liam Payne was that guy that wasn't at the height of his career when he passed away, but he was a crucial figure in a band that was huge during our formative years. So that I
Is
feel like I
he
just connected dots.
is he somebody that has he done any solo stuff?
He's done solo like he has done solo stuff. He's done solo stuff, but like compared to like Harry Styles and the
Yeah.
others, it hasn't been. And I think like that's in his later years was kind of, I mean, hindsight's always 2020, but I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, he went on Jake Paul's podcast of like all people, and he basically just ranted. And what I got out of that interview was that he was jealous of the fame that Harry Styles got. And I remember at the time thinking like this fucking washed up piece of shit. But now hindsight's always 2020. I'm like, oh, like this is someone who just spent their entire childhood in the biggest band at the time, and now that that's gone, can't find out who they are and can't live up to the success that they had when their brain wasn't done cooking. That's
Right.
not the question you asked, but that is the answer I'm going to give.
No, for sure. Like I just said, like I know One Direction, but like they didn't influence me. Like I'm
Mhm.
way more of a Backstreet Boys in sync kind of like a generation kind of guy. Um I know them somewhat, but like anytime I hear anybody who dies, especially younger than me or whatever, it's just sad. It's just sad.
Oh yeah.
Just from the hours people put in, and just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially like once, I don't know. It's sad.
It makes you realize that aging is a privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Fuck, there was something I was going to say to it. Oh, it was with the Beatles single stuff. He was saying John Lennon. Go back and go back and listen to some of the Beatles stuff, man. Listen to George Harrison. Have you listened to George Harrison solo stuff?
Yes, I think George is probably, like, out of all of the Beatles solo careers, I think George is probably my favorite. George was just the most, he's just like out of all of the 4 Beatles, he was the most little guy out of all of them, you know?
I feel like George is the most like, it is what it is, man. I'm not here to
it is what it is. You know, sometimes you're in a band, sometimes your wife leaves you for Eric Clapton.
Hey, man.
We're along for the ride. Sometimes, man, it'd be that way. It'd be that way.
Be like that. Sometimes it'd be like that. Abby, what do you have going on? Where can people find you? Or do you have news? Did we touch on news? You touched on
news was Liam Payne. News was Liam Payne. Yeah. Yes, all the shows that I mentioned before, October 23rd at Mixtape, October 26th at Ernie B's. Also another one, since I don't think we will be here, we'll do another episode in between now and then. November 3rd at Scarpacci's. Scarpacci's, or Scarps, if you're familiar with the Pittsburgh comedy scene at all, Ron Renwick hosts an open mic there every Wednesday. It's pretty happening. Danielle is the bartender. She is a pivotal part of the open mic scene, a pivotal part of the community. She is currently battling ovarian cancer. So November 3rd, there will be a showcase at Scarpacci's, an all-female lineup, and all of the proceeds will go directly to Danielle and her fight with cancer.
I saw that, and I saw the lineup, and I was like, "There's all females. I wonder if there's a reason for it." And I was like, "I wonder if there's breast cancer or something behind it." And I didn't know, and I saw some things with Danielle. Definitely stop and check that out. And Abby, send if you can, or I'll talk to you after this. I will promote that as much as I can because I'm absolutely behind that. Stop and check that out. Their venue is awesome. Danielle is awesome. Ron runs a great mic there. Just Abby, you did a mic there the other day too, right? I don't want
I guest hosted Scarpacci's, and I live to tell the tale.
Abby, and you didn't even get beat up for it.
I didn't get beat up. I didn't get stabbed. I didn't punch anyone.
That's disappointing, but it's also good at the same time. I'm happy you're safe. I'm disappointed other people are also safe, but no, stop down, check that out. I will post whatever I can, Danielle, to support whatever we can for her. Get down there and check that out. Comedy, just seeing live comedy, dude. Everybody listening, it's an awesome time. It's
live comedy.
Go do it, dude. Abby, I'm excited about it, dude. Go do it.
Yeah.
So go check that out, Abby. I'm gonna ask you again about it after. But Abby, follow Abby at It's a Buy. Follow me at Hopper1723 at Poor Man's Podcast 412. Follow us for different stuff. Follow us for our live show coming up in November. Follow us for Abby's information and for the wonderful, the talented, the beautiful Abby Elias. I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening.
All I'm going to say is I'm so happy that I was allowed to be part of your day.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope you had a good time. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the show to catch the latest episodes and share with your friends. We can't promise not to embarrass you. And if you just can't get enough, follow us on Instagram at Poor Man's Podcast 412, Twitter at Poor Man's Pod 412, and Facebook. This is Pittsburgh's own Poor Man's Podcast signing off. See you next week.
In my opinion, that sucked.
Woo! Woo!
Poor Man's Podcast, best podcast in Pittsburgh.
Straight cash, homie.